Good morning, class. Okay, so here we are with our news page up open. I'm going to walk you through how our course is going to work and what you need to do next. So you want to go to course resources and choose content. And now I have this open in teacher mode, so there might be some things I can see that you can't. But effectively, you want to start with, you might have to open human development here, and then you'll see module 1. Okay, so here's module 1. And the very first thing you want to click on with every module, you'll see module 2. So it has this title up top here. Okay, so that's the main focus of the module. So we want to click on that first. And that's going to effectively take us to our module homepage. Now, module 1 is unique in that there really isn't much there for you to do. It's very direct. You're going to go in here to explore your profile. And essentially what this is going to do is it's a pretty long quiz, I'll be honest. So I want you to actually take your time with it, read all the questions and answer it honestly, okay? There's no right or wrong. You can't fail this quiz. But what you're going to see at the end of the quiz is everything that has to do with research and inquiry. And this is obviously contemporary studies course, psychology course, lots of research is going to happen. It's going to be really good for you to know and for me to know where you're lacking. So there's kind of 4 areas being identified in the research model. So answer all the questions to the best of your ability. If you don't understand the question, then I'm going to say you probably never do that thing. Again, you don't get points for saying always, all the time, if it's not true. That doesn't help either of us understand really where you're at in this course. Once you've finished taking all the questions, so you can save and come back at any point if you're just like, I'm done with how long this is, I need a timeout. Put your answer in, save my response, and then you can come back. When you're done, you're going to want to go to this top button, statistics. And what it's going to give you is a graph like this for each of the 4 areas that the quiz was looking at. So I did the quiz through. So for organization and exploration, I'm 88%. Exploring research topics, 94%. Only 73% at accomplishing a productive brainstorming. I don't really like brainstorming. I like to jump right in. So I answered these questions honestly, and these are my percentages. So you see these red things will tell you that. Then I can move on to the next area. Okay. And we see here that this is really something I'm not that strong at, compiling information from various sources, right? I've got my go-to emails, my go-to websites, my go-to books, and I don't really branch out from that, which is limiting, and I should. So this helps me know this. So you'll do that, look at the results for all 4 sections as shown by this drop-down menu. Once you've done that, I want you to write me up, and I'll put this in the news feed as well, probably with the link. Oh, this is going to be in the news feed with the link to the Dropbox. You're going to write up a reflection on which areas you scored lower and higher on, and how basically where you scored lower, how you're going to improve on that throughout this course, what strategies you're going to need to put into place. As well, to give you some ideas of strategies you can put into place. The next part of this section walks you through what all 4 of those aspects of the quiz actually are with videos. So you would click on exploration and you would play the video, okay? And so it'll explain, you can go through all of these, or you could really just focus on the areas that you scored lower on, because obviously those are the areas where you're going to need a little bit more help. Okay, so just want to find on this page how we're going to get back to, I'll be back in a sec. So to close this window, obviously we're just going to click on the X and then we're back at module 1. So all you have to do for module 1 is that reflection for me. Down here at the bottom of the screen, we have these little arrows. When we're done with the page, click on those arrows. Obviously, it'll take us to the next section. We're done with section 1, so it's taking us back to our table of contents where we can begin section 2. Now, this is where we hit the meat of the course, and this is what the rest of the sections are going to look like going forward. So again, we have our big title topic up here. We're going to click on that. And this time, this one comes with its own overview video. So we want to watch the overview video. You only have to watch it the one time. It's an overview for the entire course, okay? And then you're going to move into the module. So what you're going to find with these modules is that right here, they're telling you in advance what the final summative task for this module is, okay? This is the last task you want to do. You do not want to start with this. This is just giving you an overview here so that you know what's coming. There's going to be other smaller tasks along the way to complete first that I can give you feedback for before you do this summative task here. And by doing those other things first, you're going to get a better mark on this task. So leave it last, even though they've put it at the beginning. It's just an idea for you to know where we're going. This inquiry question as well is all of these modules are based around inquiry questions. What are we looking at? What's the big picture research? Think of your inquiry questions as a thesis prompt or a hypothesis. What are we trying to figure out? Overall big picture. So then we'll move down. And when you see something like this, 2.1, so we're in module 2. The point 1, I like to think of it as unit 1. Okay, and then how you see down here, we have 2.2, that's unit 2. So module 2, unit 1, unit 2. And in unit 1, we're going to have some more secondary questions to explore. I'll show you those in a second. Think of those as like homework. And then we have the assessment tasks for module 2, unit 1. You'll want to do this at the end after you've done your exploratory or homework questions. Just to show you that it's set up the same, Module 2.2, Unit 2, has its own homework questions and its own assessment task. Again, you don't want to go to 2.2 until you've completed everything in 2.1. So let's go back up to 2.1 and look at those homework questions or exploratory questions. So as you'll see, we have Module 2, Unit 1, and then it's divided into chapters. So now we're going to go look at chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, okay? And in each chapter, we have again that overarching inquiry question. These questions never need to actually be answered for me, okay? They're just there to kind of guide you in a broad scope of what we're looking at. So if we click on this first arrow, it's going to take us to Module 2, Chapter 1, or sorry, Unit 1, Chapter 1. It has its own broad question, and then it has its exploratory activities, or as I like to think of them, homework activities. Okay? For each of these, you're going to start a Google slide, and I've included the link here. You're going to do the same slideshow for all of Module 2, Unit 1. Okay, and you'll see you're going to put all of your chapter homework questions, exploratory activities, on a slide. And so you'll keep it going. Once you've completed all 4 chapters that are in Unit 1, then you'll hand your slide in to me for feedback. So these are the questions here. Ignore these. They're just going to take you to a notepad to write, to like jot down your brainstorming on. Where you're going to record your answer to these questions is on the Google slide. So when you click on this link, you're going to open a new window. You're going to be asked to make a copy of the slides and you'll start recording your answers. I've labeled the slides with the corresponding question, so it should be very easy. So where the heck do you find the answer to these questions? Well, that's what the very bottom of our page is about, suggested resources. These are the links to your research websites. These are the links that are going to help you find the answer to the above question. Record your answer on your Google slide. Once you've answered those 2 questions, that was chapter 1, we can move on to module 2, unit 1, chapter 2. Chapter 2 has its own focus. In this case, Chapter 2 has a video, so watch the video. And then Chapter 2 has its own exploratory activities or homework questions. You're going to keep adding these on to your 2.1, Module 2, Unit 1 slides that you started on the previous page. And again, at the bottom, it has its own suggested resources. This is where you're going to go to find the answers to these questions. You're going to record the answer on the corresponding slide. So you're going to do that for all 4 chapters. So this is chapter 2. We can click on the arrow. We'll go to chapter 3. It has its own question. It has its own homework activities. It has its own research. We move on to 4. Same thing. Focus question, activity, and research. So once you've answered this last focus question, this last exploratory activity, you're going to submit that whole slideshow that you've been creating all along, the 2.1 slideshow, to this Dropbox right here, this Dropbox link. Okay, so you click on the link and you'll upload your entire Google slide for 2.1 that will include your answer to chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 questions. Once you've done that, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm the fastest marker on the planet. All of my in-class English students tell me that. I'm going to give you feedback ASAP. Okay, give me 24-hour turnaround on them. If it's going to be slower than that, I'll let you know. What do you do next? So you wait for my feedback because you want to make sure that I know that you're on the right track. Then you can progress to that first summative, that first task. So assessment task 2.1. That's then what you want to go and do. Once you've completed your slideshow for 2.1, you want to go to the 2.1 assessment task, open that up, and you want to complete that. Now that will be like a written paper task, okay? Once that's done and completed, submit it to the Dropbox. And when you click on this link here, you'll get a link to the Dropbox. Then you can begin Inquiry 2.2, Module 2, Unit 2. So you've fully completed Unit 1. Now you can move on to Unit 2. And you'll see when you open it up, it's exactly the same. Here's all of our Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4 for Unit 2, all of our overarching questions. Overarching question for Chapter 1, your link to open a new Google slideshow. You're going to create a whole new show for Chapter 2, Module 2.2, and you're going to answer each of these questions and move through all 4 chapters of Unit 2. Then you'll submit that to the Dropbox, and once you've done that, and you have my feedback, you'll come back and you will complete Assessment Task 2.2. Now, what's really cool about how this course is lined up is that what you do in 2.2 and what you do in Assessment Task 2.1, when you put those two things together, they become your final assessment task. So basically, you're going to get feedback on this, you're going to get feedback on this, and then you're going to get to improve your work and submit this final summative assessment for Module 2. And that's the part that will count for the most marks. I'm still going to give you marks for the other 2, but this one will count for more marks. So we'll say the other 2 will be marks out of maybe 20, 25. This will be a level mark out of 100. Okay, so you get a chance to practice the skill, improve on the skill from my feedback, and then submit your final summative assessment. So that is how our course basically shapes up. There's a lot of links, there's a lot of clicking around, so keep coming back to this video and hopefully we're all going to manage to get through it well. Happy first day of curriculum, class. Let's rock.